up, people? I'm on my way for my first outdoor workout in a long time. One second. Sorry about that. I'm on my way for my first outdoor workout in a long time. It's been the weather has not been warm enough really for the most part on one of my workout days. So I'm glad that I'm going to be able to get outside. But as you can see by my title, this is a live about having toxic management at work. Now, I won't necessarily say I'm in that spot now. It's too early to tell. But I can definitely say that within the last 5 years of work, prior to this particular job, I faced nothing but toxic management. And that used to be a thing that people just dealt with. Because I remember when I would tell my mom or my dad or whoever, people from their generation, if I would complain and say, my boss is saying this or this and this is happening at work, it's like, well, son, young man, welcome to the world of work. That's just the way that it is, and that's just the way it goes. And I always used to think to myself, really? That's just how it goes, because I don't think that's how it should go. So people act like you can go somewhere if you work full time. People act like you can go somewhere for 40 hours a week and experience negativity, negative feedback, and toxicity 40 hours in a week and just come out of that unscathed. Think about anything else outside of work that you do for 40 hours in 1 week. Hi, your daily trooper. Welcome. Is there anything else in your life outside of your job that you consistently do for 40 hours in 1 week? 40. Not me. I'm going to exercise right now. I exercise more than most. Not more than all. There's some people who are real fanatics, but I exercise like 6 to 8 hours a week, which is a lot, but it's no 40 hours. And I'm not with anybody for 40 hours doing that. Hi, Stitch. So there's no possible way to hear somebody always tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not fast enough at doing this, that your work is not complete enough, that other people are doing a better job than you. Whatever the feedback might be, the negative feedback that you're getting at work, there's no way that you can hear that all day and have it not seep into your life outside of work. And I had that experience at my last job where I had a manager that was just out to get me. And people would tell me when I would complain about it, it's just work, Mark. Don't let it impact your life. Just don't pay attention, because you know who you are, and you're that person before you clock in, and you're that person after you clock out. This is true. But you have to figure out a way to remind yourself that you're that person throughout those 40 hours, no matter what is being said to you. And this is how I did it. A job has certain, I guess, milestones and statistical measurements of what they think makes somebody a success at the job or not a success at the job. So for me, I had to discover my own metrics. I had to figure out my own metrics. And the only way you could figure out your own metrics, to take a serious look at the job and the job requirements. Is this something that I can realistically do within this 8-hour day? I know they map everything out on paper. It should take you this long to do this. It should take you this much to do this. I start to look at the job now and look at it and say, I know how much I can actually do reasonably well without sacrificing too much of my mental health to where I'm depleted outside of the job. So when I figure that out, usually success for me lies in the middle of what they're telling me to do and in the middle of what I think is reasonable to do. So it's like, this is what they want me to do. This bar here is always going to get raised. If they tell me I have to be up here to be successful and I get here, then they're going to say, now you have to be up here. And then when I get up here and they say that they see that I can do that consistently, now they're going to say the bar is up here. And then they're going to say the bar is up here. So instead, I don't really try to reach this bar. And this might be the worst work advice, but it's mental health advice. It's not advice that is tied around. Don't mistake this for advice that is going to get you in the upper rungs of your job. This is just something that has personally helped me. So their bar is here. So I'll look at that and I'll say, what are the major things that are required out of what they're telling me to do? Okay, this, and this, and this, and this has to be done, and this has to be done in this way. So then I'll look at my bar and say, this is what I feel is important. And then I'll say, okay, their bar is here, my bar is here. Let me do something a little bit in the middle. And as long as I leave the job feeling like I did the best job that I could possibly do, I feel good about myself no matter what is being said. Positive affirmations. Believe it or not, positive affirmations make a real difference, because if somebody is speaking negatively to you at work every single work day, like I said, the more you hear certain things is the more they start to seep into your mind, to where you might start to question yourself. Am I really like this? I can't get these negative words that they keep giving me out of my head. How do you counter that? You ultimately know who you are. You were that person before you even applied for the job. What if you are unemployed tomorrow? Who are you? If you don't know who you are, then it's going to be a lot easier for somebody who doesn't know anything about you aside from when you clock into the job, and bases their whole opinion of who you are around what you do for them. Of course, that person is going to make you feel bad about yourself. And that's not everybody. There are some bosses that are not like that. I've had a few of them, but I've had more of the other ones. I would say in my whole work experience, which started almost 20 years ago. I mean, my personal work experience started more than 20 years ago, but my on the books work experience started when I was 18. So it's been a little while. And it's only recently that I came to this conclusion. I just used to feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not capable enough. And I know this is the old formula where these jobs felt like negative reinforcement and threats is the thing that produces more work out of you. As a matter of fact, y'all know the situation I've talked about with my last manager. Well, some of you know that situation. Anyone who was following me for more than a year probably knows about this manager I was talking about. But if you don't, just know that I had a really terrible, toxic manager. And I remember she wrote me up. I was new to the job, and the job required you to build up a certain caseload by yourself. So the caseload had a certain number that you had to reach. And 6 months into the job, I was 5 clients away from reaching that caseload. Almost 6 months into the job, 5 months and some change. And then she told me, you know that the requirement is 30 and you're only at 25. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll work to get up to 30. So the next week I was at 28. And she said, you know how last week I told you that you need to be at 30? And she said, good job, you're currently at 28, but 28 is not 30, so you're getting a write-up. And I was like, a write-up for what? She's like, a write-up for job performance. She said, you had to reach that requirement in 6 months. And I said, well, where does it say that? Because the first 2 months of the job, I was in training. The third month, you were giving me one client a week. And then the fourth, fifth, and sixth month, you're telling me good job up until you told me, oh, you have to reach this 30 client thing last week when you told me that. And then all of a sudden, now I'm not doing the job adequately enough to get a write-up. So a year and some change with that person who was just constantly telling me I'm not good enough to do the job, it seeped into other parts of my life. And it's really why I had to learn to set that boundary. I had to learn that when I clock in, I'm doing a task. It has nothing to do with who I am. Now, sometimes parts of who I am assist me with doing the task. But it's clear to me still that I am just doing a task to get money. And some days I'm going to have good days, and some days I'm going to have bad days. But just knowing who I am, 24/7, 365, no matter what environment I'm in, is something that has helped me now, because no job is ever going to rob me of that confidence again or make me feel anything less than I felt like when I came in. Now, it's unfortunate to even have to game plan to weather those kind of elements, because that should just not be a thing. But it's a thing. It's been going on for years. It's been going on way before I was here, and it was generally accepted. But let this be where it ends for you, because it has ended for me. And I have a new resolve that I take with me everywhere. Nothing and nobody can change that. So that's my quick TED talk about work and knowing yourself. I hope everyone has a good evening. I got a workout to get to, and we'll talk later.